lions. If I was them, I would have probably already like flew off and gone to another area, just drink and then move off. But you never know. I mean, there's quite a lot of elephant dung around the waterhole. Maybe with some of the insects, maybe some of the seeds, that's what they're after. And if you look at where the lions are, look at all the elephant dung. You'll see these, it looks almost like barrel-shaped dung balls everywhere. And so that's what they're probably after. They just wanted to go and scrape around and get some of the seeds and that. But I mean, it's all over this whole water. It's very concentrated here because maybe as the elephants are coming in to drink, this is an area that they do prefer to drink from. But luckily those spur fowls have moved off. But you'll just notice these lions are so relaxed at the moment. Now there is a slight breeze blowing, and also it's a little bit overcast, so the chances are they might just lie down here for the next little while because it's not really that warm, so they don't need to move into the shade and the rest of the day. They might even be spending most of the day. I wouldn't even be surprised if they do spend the whole day here because their bellies are full. There's water right here. And of course, knowing their behavior, they could sleep up to at least 20 hours a day. So who knows? Maybe this is where they'll just rest up for the rest of the day.
That's your phone. Okay, so everybody, back with us. We're trying to reposition to get you a better view. Unfortunately, this is as good as we can get at the moment. A little bit of a depression here. But the wind is picking up, so now the gentleman that was with us a little while ago has gone across towards where those alarm calls were coming from. And there's reports that a female lioness, I suppose a female lioness is a double female, a lioness is on her way in this direction. It's possibly one of the females of this pride. I haven't managed to count them all yet. It's very tricky when they're all in amongst each other like this to count. Oh, plops down. Little cuddle puddle of lions. They do get separated at night when they're hunting, and it can often be a couple of days before they meet up again, but they will do what they can to meet up. They are a family after all. There's another one going to join over here. This one going to come across our screen in a moment. She's got a few injuries on her back leg, the inside of her hip. She's one of the younger ones who has rejoined the pride, and she's was away for a while, and I think she got an absolute hammering on her own. She looks to be okay, all just superficial wounds on the skin. And there's lots of competition in the lion world, and prides come together as a unit, and the females will defend their territory with each other against other females. And a pride of females that encounters a lone female can be quite bad for that individual if they get caught. They don't tolerate intruders on their territory. Eyes and heads up, they're looking for their siblings. It could often be a little bit of play. I think we might have missed the playfulness already this morning. They're all looking a little bit lazy now. Here comes this little youngster through. And a moment ago I saw this one actually walking, and it had a chunk of meat stuck to its shoulder. So they've, by the state of these youngsters, they're quite dirty. You see the neck and head area is very dirty. They've probably eaten something not so long ago. Who knows what it could have been. Could have been something small. Pride of lions like this can finish a wildebeest and a zebra in a very short period of time. Impalas are just like a starter for them. That's one of the biggest things that drives prides apart, in fact, is when these cubs, and most of them are boys, start getting very, very dominant at the feeding time. They're still very young, but once they reach 2 years, the boys get very physical. We spoke about the elephants earlier and how much bigger male elephants are than female elephants. The same with lions. You can get up to almost 200 pounds heavier in a male than a female, which is it's a huge amount of weight, And with that weight comes physicality and testosterone. And the boys, when there's feeding time, they get a little bit more aggressive than the females. They punch or they hit each other a little bit harder. And as time goes on, the females will start leaving them behind to feed on whatever's been caught and go catch food for themselves. And eventually, they have to only feed on large prey. Otherwise, it becomes very tricky for the pride to sustain themselves. Small prey like an impala or even a zebra, when all the boys are much bigger, don't go very far.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself, enjoying your African life safari. This is the Masai Mara. This is where I am, and I am at one of what we call the main crossings. This is a very old traditional crossing that the wildebeest, the zebra, the topi always cross. I'm at a fair distance, so I don't feel like I'm cornering these animals from crossing. There is a potential crossing. I don't know where it's going to happen, but I have a few zebra, a handful. I haven't shared any, zebra crossing with you. It is always interesting to see them crossing, so I'm hoping they're going to cross. They keep discussing on where to cross. They are moving, following the topi. They come and stand like where they're standing right now. I don't know what they're discussing. And then all of a sudden one moves and everybody follows. This is what you expect in a crossing. Standing, moving, kicking, biting, tension. All these are part of the behavior you see at a crossing. You see now there's the newcomers and they look like, we know how to cross this river, we're going to show you. And then all of a sudden, it's like, when last did anybody cross it? They sniff and just stop, look across and say, do we have lions across there waiting for us? Do you think there's a crocodile? Is this where we lost one? We lost one of ourselves, last year. Do you think it's safe to go now? Lots of things going on their heads. Remember, it's not a walk in the park. The river is full of, river monsters or the Nile crocodiles. Very, very many of them. I don't know if we'll be able to show you any. Those are rocks there. Yeah, I think we had one earlier. Is that one there? Yeah, there he is. So, they are already waiting, and these are the hindrances. This is what stops them from, crossing, because they have had experiences. But, the urge to cross, the will to cross is usually so high they end up crossing. I'm gonna stick around here, and when it happens, I'll sure to share it with you.
Welcome back, everybody, to And Beyond Pinda, where we too are also waiting for some zebra, not to cross anything, but to come down to the water today to drink. You see they're slowly building up the confidence. They often just make sure the coast is clear before they come down. There are quite a few of them in this herd on their way down to the water to drink. And you can see all of them, a lot of pairs of eyes watching around. And I think we're going to do a bit of a quiz on these zebra. I know you've been sitting with Isaac watching them, waiting for them to cross. And I'm interested to know who has the correct answer to the collective noun for zebra. If it's a stripe of zebra, a pod of zebra, or a dazzle of zebra. A stripe, a pod, or a dazzle. And you send your answers in to us, and we'll see who of you knows the collective noun for the zebra. And see quite a few birds as well. And I haven't seen any on the few that have come down to drink in this herd, but red-billed oxpeckers will often take the opportunity to sort of hop from one to another land and have a quick drink of water at the same time. But there are quite a few what look like red-billed quelea around that watering hole as well, drinking, just taking the opportunity to drink. A lot of these larger watering holes will all dry up in the dry season, and they have just come down this morning, like us with a cup of coffee in the morning, have come down for a drink of water. Quite a few zebra and impala behind them, also waiting for their opportunity, unless they've come down already. A lot of them are walking away, so I'm assuming that they've already had their drink. But a lot of birds is actually very noisy around this watering hole. You can imagine it attracts birds from far and wide that are also keen on their early morning drink. And a good place for us. We haven't sort of come right with any of the predators this morning, but for things like pride of lions to perhaps sit and wait at. But if a lion were to come here, you can imagine the chaos that it would erupt out of here. Like zebra left, right, kicking up a bit of dust, and their stripes mixing and matching. A little bit of a clue for the quiz we've just had, which for a lion would be very confusing. Just a lot of black and white going all over the show. But there's a lot of tail flicking, and I think some happy zebra in the mix there, that they've come down for a bit of a drink, a bit of a break, help with that fermentation that they do, that hindgut fermentation. A little bit of kicking in here. There will be one or two stallions that will obviously have to fight it out for dominance in a herd as big as this one.
Welcome back, guys. And those two are across the river, and I think they lost their dazzle or the families, and so they want to get back. The urge, the will to cross is very, very high here, but something is telling them they have to be very careful. If they do cross, I might say for sure these ones on this side will cross. They have been, moving up and down, trying to find a comfortable spot for them to cross. One of them actually touched the water and then left, which got my senses all heightened up, because I thought it was going to happen. Now they are moving up, and I don't know what is the plan now. Remember, this is all parts of the crossing behavior. You can never say when it's gonna happen. I've seen them come and cross immediately. I've seen them come and stand there for about 4 hours. I've seen them come and stay for a few minutes, then cross. And, they have come and turned around and gone. So these are all the behaviors that, we see here at the crossing. Yeah, although, we have seen this many times, crossing are some of the, hardest to predict. Here comes one of our crocodiles. He's swimming across. I think he wants to find a perfect spot where he can hide and ambush either the topi or the zebra when they cross. This is what stops them from crossing from past experiences. This is a crocodile big enough to grab one and just pull it under without showing any effort. And through experience, most of these zebras and topis know that. Yeah, he's gonna go out of our sight. Hopefully he doesn't stay in the path of, where they're crossing. Across there, we have the residents of the Mara River. Two little cute ones. They're rarely seen out of water. I would say they are less than 6 months old. Yeah, definitely this is a nice place to be. I'm so lucky to be sharing this with you. Yeah, this time of the year, like I've been saying in the last few days, I've seen, hippos out of water, which is quite unusual. But remember, they do secrete a mucary secretion that acts like sunblock. Sometimes you see them looking very pink, and that is the secretion they secrete that helps them so that they don't get the sunburn. Remember, their pigmentation is not well developed, so they get sunburn. So they don't get, they get sunburns because of the pigmentation. Masha, thank you for your question. You asked me if crocodiles and hippos fight. Of course, there is mutual respect because both of them occupy the river. But what happens is, if a crocodile was to, attack a young crocodile, a young hippo, then, it will be chaos. There will be no chance for that crocodile because mother hippos are very, very protective. That's when it gets ugly, and the crocodile has no chance when it stands, face to face with the mighty hippo. Remember, pound per pound, the hippo weighs about 2 tons, and the biggest crocodile weighs about 1 ton. So it's like a mouse playing with a cat in a different way. Yeah, here we're back. Still the same old story. The toppies have come. They looked like they really wanted to go, but all of a sudden, they're turning and now they're going behind me. It will happen, but I don't know when. I hope before the end of this broadcast, we'll be able to share it with you. Yeah, the other one across there, zebra, he's touching the water, but you can see how skittish he is. He knows that, a crocodile can grab him.
Welcome back to And Beyond Pinda, everybody, where the last of the zebra herd have just about finished drinking this morning. And for those of you who guessed this morning's quiz, I think everybody guessed correctly and said it was a dazzle, and you are indeed correct. Just that stripe, the little bit of movement there that you might now see as they sort of spook from the water and each other. You can imagine just how confusing that might be for lions who are trying to hunt in just black and white stripes everywhere. But well done to those of you who guessed dazzle. I'm going to have to make the next quiz a little bit harder, or a little bit challenging, a little bit more challenging. Quite a hot day. You can see the ones at the back slowly starting to filter away from us. They'll probably continue grazing this morning throughout the afternoon. If it heats up a little bit more, maybe find a bit of a shady patch and rest, and then again this afternoon start to feed again. But a very good spot to sit during the day to see what comes and goes. You can see, I don't know if you saw that youngster in the mix a little bit higher up, a little bit younger than the rest of the herd. And Nancy was asking now about the gestation period of a zebra. The gestation period is about 12 months of a zebra, so yeah, about a year. And there's no real season for them to give birth to their little ones. They give birth all year round, and one or two slightly smaller zebra in this herd. No real sort of standout babies, but Nancy around about a year for zebra. And you might often see, or maybe every other herd that you come across, some really big zebras, and they are noticeably pregnant. We'll keep an eye out for those, Nancy, and see if we can find any.
Here's these little guys we've been seeing so often. The dwarf mongoose. Now, much like me, they're sitting in one spot and warming up. That's what I was doing when I was sitting with them. Because it's a little bit chilly. Now, they would be waiting, like we've spoken about before, for some of their pals to come along. I saw a starling, but no hornbills just yet. Just two of them. Now there'd be quite a few of them around, probably still in the mound. I can hear something. Ah, this apple leaf tree in front of me got me. I thought I could hear something scratching, but it was just the apple leaf that was scratching against another leaf. Oh, yawn, yes, it's time to wake up. It's about 9:20 here in the Sabi Sands, or in South Africa. Their little bodies need to warm up. Now they've got a nice layer of fur to keep them warm. Veronica, you say they're such little cuties. They certainly are. They're very cute and awfully entertaining, especially when they're out foraging. But we can't expect them to be entertaining and go out without warming up, can we? No. So I was saying that they have a nice covering of fur. It's actually quite dense. I have found a dwarf mongoose, a dead one once. And of course I did have a good look. And they have quite densely packed fur. Mammals have 3 types of hairs that constitute the fur. They have really short, fluffy down hairs. That's right against their skin. And then they have these awn hairs that are kind of like down hairs in that they're squiggly at the base where they attach to the skin, so it's almost an extra layer of warmth. And then the ends of them are straight, like their guard hairs, which is the final layer. That is long and hard, not squiggly, and is actually also waterproof. And that's where the peelage or the color of the hair is most evident. And that's what we see. But not all mammals have those same layers. They may have just 2 of those layers, or maybe just 1 of those layers, or they can have all 3. And there's a starling to come and visit them. Maybe they'll be out and about in a bit.
Thanks, Trish. I'm almost certain lions only have one. They were up for a moment, and now they're all down again. Here's a little cub in the background is busy cleaning, grooming. It takes place at least twice a day, and it takes place always after they've made some form of a kill. Now, it's hard to see on this cub at the moment, but the lioness closest to us, it's actually quite evident with a little bit of rosy sort of pinkness to her cheeks and neck. As indication that they have eaten something. You can actually see there's a bit of congealed blood there on the face. And they ate something not too substantial. But in saying that, nothing's too substantial for a pride this size. 2 months ago, they made a kill of a buffalo, which they killed. They ate in less than 8 hours. I was very impressed with that, because normally a large buffalo is something that sustains a pride for a couple of days, but not this pride. They're growing from strength to strength. But we're not on the move hunting. This is what lions get up to for the most part of the day. They're obviously far bigger than mongoose, so they don't need to have an extra layer of sort of warmth. When they get cold, they get up and move. Being active by night, most of the time, they will sleep out the heat of the day and then get up and move at night. And if it's very cold, they'll be very active and get playful and jump around. Whereas mongoose, especially the dwarf mongoose, they're active in the daytime and then they cuddle and huddle together for warmth in their burrows. Still haven't managed to actually count the adult lionesses here. I'm going to try now. What we can see is five of them. There's more though. They're all hidden around. It's very hard to actually get a proper count unless they're all up and moving. We've repositioned to get you a better view. We don't know who else is hiding in the bushes. Okay, there's another one hiding there. There's at least 6 of the adults here. And I haven't managed to count all 9 of the cubs. Have you, Theo? Definitely not. That one lioness moved off. She looked like she'd spotted something. And she's now stopped. She's just above the drainage line over there. I don't know what she might have seen. Their eyesight is very, very good for movement. They can spot movement very far away. But some of the sort of defense mechanisms that their prey have are to stand very still. Or, as you see in the Mara, to accumulate in very large groups, which they think are then going to provide them with safety. Okay, well, you can see that that lioness is giving that cub a bit of a growl. Don't want to lick you, cub. You're not my child. And that's one of the sub-adults, or should I say, a recently matured female. One of the 3 younger females has recently come into estrus. So I'm not sure which one it was. I didn't see her, but she was mating with one of the evoker males not so long ago. I think with at least 2 of them anyway. But I'm not sure which one it was. But she is not up for kids today. I was giving that little one a bit of a growl, and she'd rather just clean herself and not the little one.
We left the pride and we went back to where they had that kill yesterday with the Dwarf, and we managed to find another lioness. There's actually 2 lions here. The one male has just moved off to the back. But what's really interesting is this lioness. Now you can see she's currently trying to get the last little bit out of this carcass. But when she moved back, there was a vulture that landed on the carcass. She immediately ran back and chased it off. There's also a hyena on the outskirts just waiting for her to move. So it would be interesting if we spend some time here and see if she does move off. If the other scavengers, like the hyenas and the vultures, are going to come in and try and get a little bit of the meat or a little bit of scraps that's left. I can hear other lions. That's why she's picked up her head like that. And she's looking down just to see if there's anything. You'll also notice even that hyena that was here at the back, like, is very wary of moving closer to this lioness, because in a way this hyena knows that if this lioness would catch that hyena, would definitely try and kill it, even though she's by herself, unless there's of course quite a few hyenas. But normally with the lioness, how I look at it is, if there's 4 hyenas, she'll still be able to take them, but as soon as there's more than 4, then they'll chase her off the kill. Actually, just see how she's using those back teeth just to cut through that little bit of skin.
Welcome back, guys, and I have decided to leave our herd of wildebeest and zebra because it looked like they were going to take a little bit longer and follow our herd of elephants previously by the road, and I think this is what they were coming for. They were coming for water, and now they're taking a drink here in the Mara River. And this is one very big breeding herd. It's always beautiful to see them doing something different, not always in the plains, but having a drink. I was hoping to see them either go in the water and play a little bit, or cross, but looks they were here for a drink. Remember, they also know they are crocodiles. Even the young ones, they have to be very careful, very, very careful. You see that female there throwing some dirt on its head. That is to add another layer of dirt that acts like sunblock. Yeah, they're always adding it to cool down so that they don't sweat and lose water, and those biting insects have a difficult time biting through that dry mud when it dries to get to the skin. Yeah, looks like everybody has had a drink, and very much like us, well, after a nice drink you just want to sit and laze, and this is the case. Yeah, they're all different sizes here. Old females, calves, newborns. I don't know what happened there. Maybe somebody misbehaved. And yeah, the mood has sort of changed slightly. Yeah, and we also have a bull. Yeah, he's the one actually bullying a younger bull off to my left here. Yeah, he's enjoying acacia. Looks like the yellow-backed acacia. It's very thorny. The elephant and the giraffe are the only two animals I know eat this tree without any problem. Sometimes I describe it as it's like eating a very hot curry because it's full of thorns. It's like when we eat a very hot curry for them, but they still eat it anyhow. Yeah, there is movement. Hope you're hearing to the sounds. Beautiful. Remember, this is live. Yeah, if you want to talk to us, hashtag CGTN Wild, hashtag Wild Earth. Those are two Twitter handles that you can engage us. Yeah, that's a little guy want to drink. Looks like the mom is offering, but the little guy has had too much water. He's not interested. Yeah, the elephants here in the Masai Mara are very lucky. There is enough bushes. We have about almost 200 species of different types of shrubs and trees, and I don't know how many grasses, and plenty of water, salt licks. So they have anything an elephant can ask for. There's a place where any elephant would want to be born. Yeah, what is happening here? Is the little guy seated? James, is he gonna fall into the water? Yeah, he's seated there. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah. Does the brother have a toothpick? Yes, he does. Look at that. Looks like he's got a walking stick or a toothpick he's playing with, the one very close to the water. Well, I'm enjoying this. I hope you're doing the same. Yeah, sights like this are not seen every day, so you're very special if you're watching this. Yeah, beautiful females, very healthy. Looks like they have no issues with me. Marklet, you ask if they ever get stressed by crocodiles. Is that the right question? If so, definitely yes. Especially when I have young ones like this. It's of no issue, but because the crocodile is still a predator, it will want to eat, and young ones like the one you can see there is a meal to crocodile. So females definitely will get stressed when they're very close to water here or even crossing. Yeah, they're coming towards me and I'm very comfortable with that. I have no issues. Remember, elephants are very intelligent, and it's one of those animals that most guides can read their body language really well. So I'm very relaxed and I'm really enjoying this. There is that one. I think he's enjoying putting his trunk flat on the ground. Look at that one. This is what they do with their trunk when they're really young. They don't know what to use it for. He's found a really good toy to play around with. He's like, what is this? Am I supposed to use this like this? Look at that. Is he gonna go for it? Why did you take it? Why did you throw it? Yeah. Continue swinging your trunk. Yeah, that was fun. It's a relaxing time for the whole herd, as you can tell. Very relaxed. They've had a nice drink of water. They're all spread out. Yeah. A beautiful size herd. Okay, the little guy is gonna take a nap. Easy. Nah, mommy saying no, not now. Or maybe not there. You're gonna get hot. So let's move on. Yeah, they are leaving now. You can tell something, a word has been communicated. Remember, they have very low vocalization, much below our sense of hearing, that, you know, they can talk to each other and they can say, let's get away from these humans. Why are they following us? And I cannot hear, and definitely you can tell everybody is heading into that direction. Yeah. This is lots of fun, but there's always more to see because I have so many colleagues spread out all over Africa.
I think it's wonderful too. It's so nice to have the Masai Mara back, especially so that we get to kind of be with our colleagues up there, even though we can't see them. And of course we can bring all of these places to you, which is amazing. We can watch wonderful things like these beautiful kudu. See, they're quite into thicket. Most of them are hiding parts of their body. And that's where kudus prefer to be. They don't like being in the open like impalas are. Like up on quarantine, you hardly see kudu. That's because they prefer the thicket. Now, their large ears allow for being in a thicket, because in a thicket, if you need to hear for predators, that sound gets distorted, because as sound waves move through the air, they hit objects and become distorted. So in the thicket, sound waves are always hitting the trees. So it can be more difficult to pick them up. And that's why they have these lovely big ears, in order to be most accurate in their reception of that sound, as well as to actually collect the sound. As antelope moved into the thickets, those that had the biggest ears were better at being able to protect themselves from predators, because they could hear better. Oh, there's this beautiful girl is showing off. And so, larger ears became the norm. And that's how evolution tends to work with most animals, not all animals. Those traits that are going to increase your survival work best, obviously, because they've increased your survival, and therefore you get to breed and reproduce. So those genes that you had, maybe it was a weird mutation that the animal never thought would help it, but now that weird mutation that is assisting it in this environment gets passed on to its young. And the young survive better than those animals that don't have those genes or that mutation. We live on a planet that has such incredible diversity and works like a well-oiled machine. Any little change in that machine, if you think of it as a watch or something like that, any change in that machinery changes all the other steps as well. Sometimes for the better, when you think about the survival of animals. Being able to camouflage well, being able to have these stripes, horns, anything that helps them reproduce, from all those beneficial things to even the things that are not so good, like fine changes in our global temperatures that can throw the whole planet off. because it is a finely tuned machine. Everything from the soils, the rocks, these animals, insects, grass. Everything plays such a key role. You can see when they're out in the open, they're moving quite quickly. Helen, you'd like to know, is there much nutrition in dried grass? Not much. There will be lots of cellulose. And that's about it. You may occasionally get some sodium and phosphates, but in negligible amounts. In fact, if anything, dry grass is probably very horrible to eat.
There's a few more lions that have joined up at this carcass now. So the mother's given the youngsters an opportunity to also have a meal. So she's gone and decided to go and lie down just a little bit further back behind the vehicle while these youngsters are currently feeding. Now, I haven't seen the whole pride yet, even those that we saw earlier around the Waterhole and then these ones here, but there's still some of the members missing, like the young white female and her sister. I haven't seen. And the thing is, they might just be lying down somewhere here where we can't see them in the tall grass. But these lions, look at how some of them are just looking at those vultures, but they are so full. You can just see they're panting and they're trying. And because they never know when their next meal is going to be, they're just trying to take every little bit that they can out of this carcass before they have to move on. Actually, they do blend in very well with the grass. I can just, those two vultures that just flew off, just want to see if there's maybe another lion that's on its way. But they blend in so well. I can even imagine when these lions would have hunted. As soon as they started spreading in this big open area or in this particular area and just used all the cover, it would have been impossible to see them, especially at night, when they do have that advantage over some of the animals. And but even now, I mean, this is the broad daylight, and look at how difficult it is to really tell their shape in the grass. Now imagine if they are lying down flat in the grass, how difficult it would be in order to spot them, and there's no movement. It would almost be impossible. But it is a very peaceful scene. There's barely any noises around, any birds, no alarm calls. It's just these lions, and you can hear them breathing quite heavily. And now and again, as one is like feeding in the carcass.
Wow, Nikki, you must be super close if you're hearing them breathing. Oh, look at that one there. He's just given himself a little hug. Oh. Now, we look at these lions, and sometimes we might think of them, due to how close we are, that they are tame animals. Now, please, everybody, bear in mind, these are wild animals that have just gotten used to the presence of a vehicle. Sometimes they might look cute and cuddly, but that is not the case. It is not the case at all. Lions are potentially dangerous animals, and they need to be respected as such. We are very privileged that habituation is a process that works very well on big predators. And habituation means they've gotten used to our vehicles. So the adults would have taken time initially, long time ago. But then when they have cubs, the cubs get used to us very quickly because the adults don't react. You can kind of work it out the same way. If, for example, you're walking down the street, say you're an adult, you're walking down the street with your child, You're holding your child's hand, and something happens. You see something as an adult, and you react to it. Now, your reaction to that will trigger a reaction in that child every single time. Quite often, your child might cry or it might panic without actually even knowing what's happened. But then another time, you might be walking down the road and you're very calm and very relaxed. Your child is thinking, oh my word, what is that? Why am I not freaking out? Why is mum not freaking out? And then because mum or dad's not freaking out, that child relaxes to that situation very quickly. So that is what habituation is. You can sort of think about it like that. And there is another vehicle in the sighting. You might hear the sound of an engine. And so once you have habituated the adults, the cubs calm down and are relaxed to vehicles very, very quickly. But like I said, don't let that mistake you for them being tame. These are very, very wild animals, everybody. Very, very wild. And very sleepy too. Mary, they are so cute, aren't they? Especially the cubs. I wouldn't say that the adults are cute, but when they do their little snuggling, like when we came in earlier, they had their head on top of you, sleeping on top of each other. They do look very lovable. But I can assure you, when it comes to feeding time, your mindset about that changes very quickly. Even the small little one there, in the middle of shot, even that one turns into a vicious lion as soon as there's food on the table. And it is all about being a lion. Lions are very tough, very strong animals, and very physical. Very, very physical. And they got to learn to take a beating from a young age if they want to be big and strong later on. Nature favors strength. Survival of the fittest. The strong will survive, and their genes will be passed forward. And the Yonkuhuma pride is going from strength to strength. We're very excited about that because when I started here, the pride had just gone through a traumatic event of a disease that plagued the buffalo populations due to the drought. And the cubs that were new at the time were decimated. They all died. I missed the beginning of that. And there was one little youngster that held on for quite some time. And then 2.5 years later, here we have 9 little youngsters in the pride. And it's very exciting to watch them grow.
Okay, welcome back, guys. And now we have one of our mysteries solved from this morning. As you can see there, the crocodiles are just about to feed. I showed you a young toppy that had lost its mum. That is the mum there. It's sad news, but this is nature and the truth of the matter. There is nothing I can do but just leave nature to take its course. Now, this is a crocodile restaurant, and it can get messy and gory, so be advised. I don't know if they can really go for it, because when they are like that, they anchor one another where one grabs one and then one does the death roll. I don't know if they're gonna do it. These are the Nile crocodiles, and all those there are fully grown. We have very, very big crocodiles in this river. I see 2 only, but I don't know how many there are. I don't know what they are doing there. It's a very interesting behavior. They keep to be, okay, there we go. Grab. Okay. Trying to get hold. Yeah, it's Tony, thank you for your for your comment. They are very huge, these crocodiles. Yeah, I call them big daddies or submarines because they're really, really big. Looks like the one holding on to the topi right now is actually bullying the others. You can tell they don't want to get close. There is one coming in from the right. I don't know what the strategy is here. Looks like the one holding on to the topi is holding it by the leg. Yeah. The moment it's open, there's going to be a feeding frenzy. Definitely, because the smell of blood. Everybody's gonna wanna go for it. They have moved quite far away now. I hope they can do it if they're doing it so that we can see. Remember, this time of the year, they have eaten quite a lot. They've been gorging themselves for the last 1 month and a half. And so right now, they're not as hungry. Here comes another one from the right. Gonna see some action. There comes another one also. There's more and more. Yeah, when there is action, I'm sure we're gonna share it with you, but I'm gonna let you enjoy.
Welcome back to Unbound, everybody. We have found 2 of 3 very large and impressive kudu bulls. You can just barely see his body, but those spiraling horns there as he walks away from there, and it's now just the horns that stick out from the top of this thick vegetation that he's walking through, these guarri bushes. But yeah, him and the other one that's walked out of picture left of us have massive sets of horns, very, very impressive sets. The largest antelope species that we get here on and beyond Punda, and just very majestic animals. Every time we sort of stop and start the vehicle, they stop and look at us. They've almost looked like those NFL football players with those chevrons just below their eyes, those white chevrons below their eyes. And as he walks, he's, I think, quite lucky that he's walking through an open area like this, but in very dense vegetation, and it's just commenting on how curly his horns are. They can get in the way, and if he is walking through a thicker area, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen them, but when they're walking through an area like that, they'll actually put their heads back, so those horns sit almost flush on their backs as they walk through, and now just completely disappeared as they continue to browse this morning. We might just see a horn here or there sticking out, and it, like you say, very, very impressive, but they seem to have disappeared. There were 1 or 2 others off to our right, but they have now, completely disappeared. No luck this morning for us on the cheetah front, but lucky to come across these kudu bulls. But lucky to come across these kudu bulls.
they fight for mating rights, and so that main male usually chases away everybody, and slowly you can tell there are one big happy family coming out to sunbathe. They are not bothered by anything, the hippos, apart from every now and then a crocodile or a lion will try and take a young one, but basically they are free from most dangers. Over there we have yellow bill stocks. I think they have been feeding really well this morning. It's time to dry up after being in the water for very long. Yeah, these are the residents of the Mara, and it's a common sight everywhere there is water here in the Mara. It's one of our large stocks. Tony, thank you for your good question. Is the water level very high right now? I'll say no. Right now it's moderately low, although it does get slightly lower, but I would say it's low. Highest is in the months of April, May, and June. That is after our long rains, and it can go up to around almost 15 feet high from where it is. So it's very low right now. Yeah.
Well, we are yet to get the short rains, maybe in the month of September, October, and I'm sure when that will happen, the water levels in the Mara River might rise. But it is, what Isaac is saying is correct. Now, we've got this wildebeest here, and the river is behind us, about 2 kilometers, a mile and a half or so from where we are. And the direction they're heading to is towards that tree line there, and the other side of the tree line is the Mara River. Now, we've got so many places where this wildebeest normally cross the river. It's always very difficult to know exactly where that will happen. The best thing to do is just to follow them very quietly and, monitor them, and all those other clients or guests who are visiting the country, coming, enjoying the very famous migration, because it's quite a spectacle. With all the challenges we've been having of COVID-19, tourism in Kenya slowly is surely rising up, and we're getting more numbers of visitors. We're very privileged because we live here and we're here every other day. Remember, should you have any questions or comments, please send them through. You can tweet #CGTN Wild or #WildEarth. We'll be happy to interact. So gonna stay here, enjoy this wildebeest, try and follow their movement, and maybe find out if they might get close to the river and I'll join them.
There's one vulture that decided to venture off a little bit closer to the carcass. Now, it seems like the youngsters don't mind it too much, but here we go. I spoke to Shin. I knew, as soon as that vulture came down, there's a good chance one of the lions might get up. And I could actually see the one bigger lioness at the back also lifted her head. So if this one didn't come, that bigger one would have definitely come to chase that vulture off. And it just shows you, they basically finished the carcass. There's very little left, and still trying to get every little bit of scrap that they can get. Just look at this one's belly, how big and bulged it is at the moment. You can also see short of breath. There's barely any space inside their belly for more. But of course, she'll still try and get a bit more in. Decided there's not much left, so she's just heading across to the other one. Cole, I'm not sure what the lions would do. Like, based on how full they are, like, I'm sure if they do kill it, it will mainly be like hyenas. They'll just kill it and it'll be for the fun. But if hyenas had to kill the vulture, the chances are more likely they'll be able to eat it. But it also depends on how hungry the lions are. If lions haven't been eating for quite a while and they're really pushed, I mean, they are opportunistic and they're going to try to use that opportunity to, of course, feed themselves. But in this case, I mean, these youngsters are so full, so if they do kill a vulture, they might play with it, but I'm sure they won't necessarily tear it apart to try and get to the meat. But the other thing about vultures, though, is that they're very, like, quite smart, especially around carcasses. Sometimes especially when there's a lot of hyenas, there's a chance that they could be killed by hyenas, like, because they just get in the way and the hyenas eventually kill them. And the other danger for them is jackals. So sometimes with the younger ones, whenever they go and they, especially close to a waterhole, if they go for like a bathe, and the youngsters are still too wet to fly, then you might find that jackals could possibly kill them and eat them. But lions in general, like, I think during my whole time as a guide, I've never seen a lion kill a vulture or even feed off a vulture. But it's just such an amazing scene. You can hear the wind slowly starting to pick up now. But these lions will probably be here for the rest of the day.
Thanks, Nikki. Well, I think our lions are going to be here for the rest of the day too. They all jumped up a moment ago. One of the cubs started walking towards them, and a scrub bear bolted out of somewhere, and the whole pride took to their feet and was ready to pounce. It's quite comical, actually. And now all the cubs have woken up, and now they all want to try and suckle on the lionesses who've really stopped producing milk. But yet the cubs are still going to try. There she is. She's getting very annoyed with them. See if you can hear the noises they're making. They're all really receding into the shade now. That sun is broken through. They're starting to warm up quite a bit. So I'm almost certain the lions are going to be pretty much right here this afternoon, unless something stumbles through here and causes them to move on after it. Very likely they're going to be right here.
look at what we found. Again, it seems to be a trend for the morning. It is a black-backed jackal. Whether or not it was one of the same jackal we saw earlier on in the show, I'm not really sure. But it's very unusual that it's come down to have a drink. I can't say that in all my years of guiding I have seen very many jackals drinking from watering holes. Just occasionally, very exposed, coming out like that. Ah, look, did you see that? It's just urinated on top of the elephant dung. So now I prove my point when I was telling you earlier how they like to defecate and urinate on top of things, on things that are higher. But what are you doing here on your own? There's just been so much activity around the dam this morning and so many signs of predators. I wonder if something hasn't gone, behind the dam wall. Up it goes. It's just up. There it is. Being very cautious as it approaches the edge. Sorry, we might get one last view of it. Come on, Jackal. Poke your head out. Oh, he's almost there. He's literally just behind the trees. There we go. And I have a nice little vantage point because it drops down quite deep. Just to make sure that there isn't a lion or a leopard just lurking around there. Very nice to see. But thankfully the wind has dropped a bit, so maybe we'll get some other visitors coming around to the dam at some point. Ah, Louis, yes, it does seem like there are jackals all over. And they're normally quite shy, so it is nice to spend some time with them. It's not an animal that you're guaranteed to see on safari. Not that you're guaranteed to see anything, but they are quite elusive. I suppose with all the vegetation drying out a bit and maybe a jackal's looking for den sites, although they do normally use the same den sites over and over, maybe we're going to see some more of them. Very uncertain as what you're going to do this morning, aren't you, Jackal? Well, there it goes. Maybe it's going to come back down for another drink. I think we'll just sit and watch this jackal as it does its morning things.
Yeah, we're still parked here, and looks like the zebra have done the same. They have parked. The only movement now is their tail wagging. Every now and then there's a movement of the head shaking, and stamping of the front feet. Okay, looks like somebody just came out there saying, I'm not going, it's not a good place to cross. Yeah, and everybody has left. Maybe it's a good decision, because out of the angle of the camera, there is a very big croc that just came out of the water, and he's dead straight on the path of the zebra. So there's no way they're going to go. It's no crossing for the zebra now, unless they want to go jump over him, but it's impossible. Yeah, you can see how they're shocked to see him out of water. It's like, my God, I told you, Lucy, he was very big. Look at him. Yeah, my instincts were right. I told you it wasn't good to go. Yeah, looks like that's what they're saying. So at the moment, it's no crossing. I'm gonna drive there, share that crocodile with you, and maybe try and find something else for you guys. But even for me, I think it's a no crossing for the zebra. If you allow me, I'll just move to where we can show you the crocodile, and then after that I'm gonna move on and try and find something for you guys. It's rather tricky here. I have to concentrate, otherwise I'll go swimming myself. Bunny, you ask about who will go after the crocodile? Well, here in Africa, young ones are preyed on by, other crocodiles, yeah, and, birds of prey like martial eagle will prey on them. Young ones, fully grown ones, they're immune to most predators. Yeah, that is the guy who just came out of the water. It's nice to share his size with you. You can tell that he's still wet. He just came out, and now he has said, nobody's crossing today until I have digested enough so that I can eat one of you. And you can tell the zebras have retreated back, slightly, and they're in shock. You can tell their manes, they're very upright. Yeah, they're very shocked, to see that size crocodile. And so I think there will be no crossing. Yeah, everybody's turning back and saying, phew. Yeah, that was close. Cherry, I think there's a misunderstanding there. And I think that is something that should be corrected. 90% of the time, crocodiles will eat fresh meat. It is a myth that they kill and store their food underwater. Nobody has proven that. Every time I have seen a crocodile in the Mara River or in the other rivers and lakes that I have visited in Africa, they've always been going for fresh kills. Either it is a zebra, a wildebeest, a buffalo, a Thompson gazelle, it is fresh. And no matter if it is 2 days old, it is still fresh. So that myth and that question of saying that they eat rotten meat should be taken away. This is a pure predator, a carnivore, and these waters are his place, and it only eats fresh meat. Cherry, I think I've answered you. So I think it's about time for me to leave the river, and I have to thank it because it has been full of action for me. It's unfortunate I couldn't share, a crossing, but you never know. The coming hours, the coming days might be, a place that will, applaud and appreciate. Okay, I'm gonna move further. Maybe I'll find something for you guys.
Thanks, Isaac. Well, all the way back from the Mara here to Simbambili, live in South Africa once again. I was in the Mara last year for the migration, and what a spectacle it was. Such a wonderful time spent up there. Here I find myself in a different country for the show this year, and with my favorite pride of lions, the Nkuhuma pride. I've spent a lot of time with this pride since arriving on Djuma. They had some youngsters initially. They were very playful, and they've become adults now, and a new generation of cubs. Very exciting times for the pride. Whether they know it or not, their numbers will be rebolstered. They lost an individual, their oldest member last year, Nana, who had a very bad injury, but she eventually just lost condition and was old and passed. That's what happens. You have lions do often die of old natural age, injury. They need to successfully reproduce and reintroduce individuals to the pride, not only to the pride themselves, but introducing coalitions of males that will take the genetics of this pride and move it around as well. And it's looking like there could be anywhere from 5 to 7, or should I say 6, males that might emerge from this pride if they all reach adulthood. And the strength of those 5 or 6 individuals would really, really, really bolster the Nkuhuma genetics within the Sabi Sands. When last have we seen a coalition of more than 4? It's been a while. my early guiding career, there was a coalition of 5 in the area, and then 9 sub-adult males that were coming through. And all 8 of them reached maturity, and one of them was killed by the 5. Competition amongst male lions, as discussed earlier with the need for a mane, is incredible and can be incredibly violent, often leading to either immediate death or the animals dying as a cause of the injuries later on. And it's why male lions don't live as long as females in the wild. But right now, none of that is going through their mind. They are just living day by day. Clearly still hungry, the way this one's head is up. The wind is just wafting all sorts of smells towards them. If you've ever been hungry in the morning and you can smell breakfast being cooked somewhere, it does something to your tummy, doesn't it? Hello, Laurel. Welcome to the show this morning. You want to know if they've still got 9 cubs? They do. They do indeed. All 9 of them are still here this morning. We've managed to finally count them when they got up and moved around. And there are 7 adults here at the moment. 7 adults. Now, one of the other adult females, who was a sub-adult not so long ago, she went away with the young male that was pushed away from this pride. And there's reports that she's nearby. But I was chatting with one of the guides from Simbabili who was here just now. And he says that she keeps trying to join, but the evoker males won't accept her. The evokers are the dominant males of this pride currently. And every time they see her, they try and kill her. And that's probably because she moved away with her brother, who was coming of age, and he was chased away by the evoker males, and so she followed him around. And so her familiarity with the pride, or their familiarity with her, the evokers that is, they've decided they don't know her, they don't like her, and she's not welcome. So apparently every time she tries to join, if those males are nearby, she catches hiding. So shame. It's very sad because she will not be accepted by another pride. Lionesses on their own. It's not a common thing to see. They don't do as well on their own as they do in the pride. There's too many pressures. They're not able to maintain a territory or protect themselves or protect kills against prides of lion. And as discussed earlier on in our lion sighting this morning, females are very violent against other females as well if they feel like they're transgressing and crossing into their territory. And if she's not accepted into this pride, her life as a nomad, unfortunately, will probably be rather short.
Welcome back, everybody, to And Beyond Panda, where we found there were 3 giraffe doing something quite interesting and fascinating to watch. They call osteophagy, where they'll bend over to pick up bones, old bones, and then chew on them. And the said giraffe that was doing that just before you all joined us dropped that bone and has carried on. In fact, now hiding. You can see just behind that tree. He's hiding behind that. But you never know, like you're watching now with lions and fighting, if they maybe sort of catch something months down the line where there's sort of graveyard and a lot of bones hanging around, things like giraffe, even Yala will go and pick those bones up to chew on them and try and get a little bit of calcium out of them, which is quite interesting behavior. But Murphy's Law, as soon as we point the camera on him, he drops the bone almost as if he's doing something he shouldn't be. But we don't see that too often, but just trying to get every last little bit of nutrients out of that bone. Already quite hot, a little bit right of where you're looking now is another one standing in the shade of a tree